What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90, and it is time for the Week 15 Premier League predictions. Here are the winning accumulators we've had since the last episode. You can pause and take a look for yourself if you want. I particularly like this one from Monday. I thought Atalanta to win at 2.2 against an out-of-form Roma was just crazy work. We also had the Premier League OG top 4 fourfold where I did shade Liverpool to beat Man City, but also all these others here. Like I said, feel free to pause and take a look at these yourself. Flashing up on the screen are all of the people that have joined the Patreon and are supporting the channel and making videos like this possible. And of course, remember to subscribe down below, because if we reach 30,000 subscribers by the 1st of January 2025, I will be introducing La Liga, Serie A and Bundesliga prediction videos to the channel. So that represents at least 3 more videos per week, and it wouldn't be possible without the help of you here on YouTube and over on the Patreon as well. So speaking of that, if you want to get a shout out in every single video and access to all of the tips and accumulators where we are at nearly 200 units in profit for this season, then you can head over to the Patreon using the link in the description. Now, kicking off, we have the Merseyside derby between Everton and Liverpool. Quick disclaimer, obviously this video, you're seeing it if you're watching it when it goes up on the Thursday, so the games between Fulham and Brighton and Bournemouth and Tottenham haven't yet kicked off, but we know the fate of all the other teams, and quite amazingly, Everton coming off the back of a 4-0 win against Wolves. Now, I definitely think that scoreline flattered them. I wouldn't say they battered Wolves in terms of chances created or anything like that, but to come off of a 4-0 loss and turn it into a 4-0 win is crazy work. And Liverpool, they came from behind 1-0 against Newcastle at halftime, 2-1 Newcastle to make it 3-2 to them, and then they conceded a late equaliser when Kelleher decided to let the free kick run, thinking it was going to go out for a goal kick, and then Shah at the back post got a really nice angle, made it 3-3. But Everton-Liverpool Merseyside derby, especially at Goodison Park, this is the final one at Goodison Park. It always just seems to be low scoring. I'm thinking 0-0, 1-0, 2-0, nothing else other than that. And I am going to give it to Liverpool, even though Everton have just come off of an amazing 4-0 result. I almost think, like I said, when West Ham beat Newcastle and then went and played Arsenal, I said if West Ham didn't beat Newcastle, maybe they'd do it to Arsenal, but I thought Arsenal would win because West Ham just got the big win they needed. Similarly, I think had Everton not beaten Wolves and Liverpool beaten Newcastle, as most people had expected, I think it would be more likely to see an upset here. But given that Liverpool dropped points and Everton didn't, I think they will be able to bounce back and get the 3 points. I'm going to say a 2-0 win to Liverpool, and the tip is going to be Liverpool and under 4.5 goals at 1.75. You could do Liverpool and under 3.5 goals at 2.25 as well. Last week, I said Man City and under 4.5 goals, for example, at 1.66, but said you could do Man City and under 3.5 goals at 2.15, and that ended 3-0, and that was also a 2-0 prediction. So similar logic here. I'm expecting Liverpool and under 3.5, but just for a bit of safety, in case we see a 3-1 or a 4-0, I'm going to say Liverpool and under 4.5 goals, and that boosts the odds up to 1.75. Now, after this, it's Aston Villa up against Southampton, 2 teams I correctly predicted last week. I correctly predicted Southampton to score and lose, and I correctly predicted Aston Villa to concede and win. So I think that's going to happen again for both teams. Southampton, they don't seem to struggle getting on the score sheet, but they were absolutely battered by Chelsea, let's be honest. And Aston Villa were 3-0 up against Brentford at half-time. Obviously, Brentford have the worst away record in the league, more or less, and other than, I think, Southampton, to be honest. So I think Villa are going to do much the same against another poor team. Aston Villa to win 3-1, and the tip is going to be Aston Villa and both teams to score at 2.75. Now, afterwards, it is Brentford up against Newcastle. Brentford, as I said, the worst away form in the league along with Southampton, but the best home form. However, the caveat with Brentford, whilst they do play well at home, the teams they've played away from home that they're losing to are the likes of Man City, Tottenham, Chelsea. They're good teams, and the teams they're playing at home and beating, I think they're all of the bottom teams. If you look at the teams they've playing at home, I think they've played 20th, 19th, 18th, 17th, 16th, 15th. I think they've played all of them, and they haven't played anyone at the top at home yet. So whilst it's a very stark home and away record, that is also partly due to the fact that they're playing the lesser teams at home at the moment and the worst teams away. And Newcastle is going to be a tricky test. So I'm going for Brentford to drop points at home. I'm going to say that it will be a high-scoring... do I say draw? I'll say draw. Brentford 2, Newcastle 2. The tip is going to be both teams to score an over 2.5 goals at 1.8 because Brentford games at home always have goals. Newcastle looked really good in attack against Liverpool. Some of the goals they scored. If Isak's playing, he's probably scoring. And I think there's going to be a lot of goals. I could see this going either way. You could see Brentford win it. You could see Newcastle win it. But either way, I think both teams to score over 2.5 goals at 1.8 is going to be the shout. Now, after this, it's Crystal Palace up against Man City. Palace got the win against Ipswich, and Man City, as we expected, 1-0 against Nottingham Forest with less than 4 goals. Is this going to be another upset for Man City facing Crystal Palace? In recent sort of years, Palace has been a bit of a bogey team for Man City. I just don't see it. I'm going to shade it to Manchester City. I'm going to say 2-1. And the tip is going to be Man City to win at 1.57. I was about to go Man City and both teams to score, but then I saw the odds of Man City to win outright at 1.57. I thought, you know what? I like that. We're going to go with that. Coming up after that, we head to Old Trafford for Manchester United up against Nottingham Forest. Forest, as we said, just taking a beating from the other team in Manchester. And Man United losing 2-0 to Arsenal thanks to 2 corners that they scored and Man United conceded from. And although Arsenal, you know, they scored both their goals from corners, they did well, I would say, at keeping Man United out in terms of the fact that Man United really didn't create many chances at all. Like, their XG wasn't very high. They passed it around nicely for the first half an hour or so, but they didn't look threatening at all. And it was only a matter of time with the amount of corners Arsenal were getting that they were going to score. But I do think they're going to bounce back. I know, you know, Forest had a tricky fixture against Manchester City. Maybe they could have grabbed at least a goal, and they beat Ipswich the week before that, which you'd expect. But Man United at home, there's some green shoots showing, some slight positives. So I'll say Man United to win 2-0, and the tip is going to be Man United to win at 1.61. I think the odds are fair. I think they're saying it's about as likely for Man United to beat Forest as it is for City to beat Palace, and I would probably agree with that. So we're going to say Man United to win. Now, after this, it's Fulham up against Arsenal. A little bit of hindsight would be nice here with Fulham because they play Brighton tonight, but of course we don't have that luxury with the games coming so thick and fast. But Arsenal, professional job over Manchester United, and I think they're going to win here. I'm going to say another high-scoring Arsenal win, 3-1, and the tip is actually going to be over 2.5 goals at 1.72. Much like when Arsenal played West Ham and I predicted a 3-1 win to Arsenal, I tipped over 2.5 goals instead because the value is really good. I think the value is really good. Over 2.5 goals at 1.72. Sign me up for that. Arsenal to get the win. You could go Arsenal and both teams to score as well if you like. Now, after this, it is Ipswich up against Bournemouth. Bournemouth playing Tottenham tonight. I literally have no idea how their game against Tottenham is going to go. Tottenham should win, right? And if you're watching this in the first couple of hours it's gone up, you won't know either. Tottenham should win that game. You never know. It could end 1-0 to Tottenham. It could end 3-3. It could end... You just never know. I think Bournemouth are going to win this one. I'm actually going to be brave. The odds for Bournemouth to win are pretty good as well. Ipswich... they are struggling. So I'm just going to say that Bournemouth win 2-1. And I'm going to tip it. Bournemouth to win at 2.05. I never tip that. I think it's obviously more likely that we're going to see both teams to score. But I just saw above evens and thought, you know what? Let's go for it and back Bournemouth, who I think will probably not be able to get the 3 points or even a point against Tottenham tonight. After this, it is Leicester up against Brighton. I think Brighton can get something from Fulham tonight. Maybe not the win, but I think at least a point. And Leicester obviously got a brilliant result against West Ham. Let's not forget, though, West Ham had, I think, was it 32 shots on Leicester's goal? The West Ham had about 3 to 3.5 XG. Leicester had 1. Like, West Ham really should have got something from that game. I was baffled when I saw that Leicester managed to win in the way that they did. And I don't think it's going to work against Brighton, who have been much, much better this season. I'm going to go for an away win to the Seagulls. I'm going to say Brighton to win 2-1. But the tip, I am going to go both teams to score on over 2.5 goals at 1.9. Leicester love to score. Brighton love to score. I think both teams are scoring over 2.5 goals will happen in the Fulham-Brighton game. If you are watching this early enough to get that on as well, you could do a Brighton, both teams are scoring over 2.5 goals double for their next 2 games. And that would bring you in at odds of nearly 4. So if you fancy that and you're watching this video early enough, feel free to do that. But I think Brighton will get the win, and I think there will be goals. Speaking of which, we have Tottenham up against Chelsea. This game is going to be fireworks. Tottenham, you can't predict them. You never know what's going to happen. They might beat Bournemouth. They might get slapped. Chelsea have been looking insane. They destroyed Southampton 5-1. Everything points to a Chelsea win. I'm going for a gut feeling upset here. Not going to be a Tottenham win. I'm going for a high-scoring 3-3 draw, and the tip is going to be over 3.5 goals at 1.9. I could see this being a 3-1 Chelsea win. I could see this being a 2-2 draw. I could see this being a 3-1 Tottenham win if they decide to show up and play a good game. I could see this being the 3-3 draw that I predicted. I could see it being more. Regardless, I think there's going to be goals. I think that's the market you've got to look to. The odds are so bad for over 2.5, but I think over 3.5 at 1.9 is about fair. They're saying it's about 50-50 chance, and I think it's going to happen. So we'll go a point apiece, and I wouldn't mind that as an Arsenal fan, to be honest. Because obviously Chelsea are who we're worried about in terms of where we finish in the league, and we let Tottenham have a point. You know, they've been going through some stuff. They're probably going to lose to Bournemouth now, aren't they? And the final game, Monday Night Football, it is West Ham up against Wolves. West Ham, I mean, Lopetegui's under immense pressure after that loss to Leicester. I mean, obviously they had chances. There weren't big chances. They just had loads of little cumulative chances. They should have scored more. And obviously Wolves, they lost 4-0 to Everton. That's unforgivable. That is... I mean, a lot of the Wolves results, even though they were losing a lot at the start of the season, you kind of forgive them for it. It was by the odd goal. They were scoring plenty. They were against good teams. But a 4-0 battering against Everton is not acceptable. And whilst I think they do need to respond, I think West Ham equally are in dire straits and need to respond too. So I think they're going to cancel each other out. And I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. But the tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.57 because that just has to happen. West Ham need to score. Wolves need to score. It is do or die. And this might be El Sakiko. You know, if there's a team that loses this heavily, the manager could be gone. I don't think Gary O'Neill is as close to Lopetegui getting sacked. But if it's big enough of a defeat, it could happen. I think both teams are going to score. So that is where I'm going to tip there. But that is going to do it for this video. If you did enjoy it, please do drop a like. Like I said, subscribe down below. We're about 450 subscribers away now from 30,000 subscribers. And we have... you know, about 4 weeks to get there. And if we do, we introduce the new leagues to the channel. So that is going to do it from me. And I'll see you in the next video very soon.